Have you ever found yourself sitting quietly, watching life pass by, feeling time slipping through your fingers like water? Maybe on a tranquil afternoon, you pause and suddenly realized the years you once thought were far ahead have quietly slipped into the past. Your body no longer moves with the same agility. You tire more easily, and your energy isn't what it used to be. In that silent moment, a question arises. Is this what aging truly means? But I want to share something with you. The truth is that aging is not a decline, but rather a profound chapter of growth, if we choose to see it that way. Growing older doesn't necessarily mean losing things. It can be the time to cleanse the noise, reclaim peace, rediscover purpose, and embrace joy that is quieter, but deeper than ever before. Let me tell you a story that completely changed my perspective on aging. A few years ago, I went through a phase I called the free fall. I felt lost, like a ship drifting without a map on an open sea. I lost interest in the things I once loved, and every morning, I woke up feeling a vague, nameless fatigue. Then one day, I met an elderly woman named Tam, 78 years old, in a small painting class tucked away on an old street corner. She smiled gently and said, "Child, every wrinkle on my face is a chapter in the book of life. Why should I be sad for gaining one more beautiful chapter?" From that moment, it felt like life began to rewrite itself inside me. A quiet afternoon in the park. I sat still on an old wooden bench, feeling the weight of time pressing gently on my shoulders. Every chirping bird, every falling leaf echoed like a subtle reminder of aging's quiet passage. That was when I saw him, an elderly man, perhaps in his 80s, throwing a frisbee with his grandchild. His laughter rang bright and free, his eyes sparkling like a child's. In that moment, he didn't look old at all. In fact, he looked no older than 20. Something lit up inside me. I suddenly understood aging isn't about slowing down. It's about living more wisely, more joyfully, with deeper clarity and purpose. It isn't the end of life, but the beginning of a more mindful, meaningful way of living. Let's be honest. Most of us are afraid of growing old. We fear the loss of our energy, our strength, our sense of adventure. But what if aging wasn't a loss, but a chance to cultivate wisdom, inner peace, and lasting joy? This is where Buddhist philosophy offers profound insight. The Buddha never taught us to fear aging. Instead, he saw it as an invitation to live more mindfully, more authentically, and more peacefully in each present moment. I want to share with you 8 essential teachings inspired by Buddhist wisdom, not just to help you survive old age, but to thrive in it. These teachings are not complex or distant. They are simple, grounded, and immediately applicable. If you embrace them, you may realize the most beautiful years of your life may still lie ahead. Are you ready to embrace a new way of living for the years to come? Walk your way into strength. Walking. It sounds simple, but it holds a quiet magic. It's more than just physical movement. It's a journey of the soul. I remember the first time I laced up my shoes and stepped outside with no destination in mind. The wind brushed my face. Sunlight filtered through the leaves, and each step merged with my breath. I realized each step was a reminder that I was alive. In Buddhist walking meditation, each step is a step back to yourself. There's no need to rush, no need to arrive anywhere. Just breathe and walk with awareness, and you'll find your heart lightens. That's when true strength begins to grow, not from muscle, but from presence. The world of walking, it sounds simple, but if you give it a chance, you'll find it can take you far, not in distance, but in awakening. At first, I hesitated. My body felt heavy. My steps were sluggish. The thought of effort made me question, do I really want to do this? But then, something small yet remarkable happened. I walked through my familiar neighborhood. I'd walked this path many times before, but today, for the first time, I was present. I noticed my breath becoming steady. My mind slowed. Every step, every breath became a rhythm of meditation, bringing me back to the now. I started noticing things I never had, the rustling of leaves, Sunlight filtering through the branches. Birds singing songs I never truly heard. I was no longer walking to the world, I was part of it. And in that stillness, I realized this wasn't just exercise. This was moving meditation. In Buddhism, walking meditation is a deeply rooted practice. You don't have to sit still. You don't even have to close your eyes. Just walk, breathe, and be aware. Even the Buddha was a traveler. He walked countless roads to spread the Dharma. His steps were not merely physical, they symbolized a journey toward enlightenment. We are the same. Every step we take on a path or in life brings us closer to clarity, mindfulness, and wisdom. You don't need to walk miles. Just 10 minutes around your block. But if you truly walk with presence, you'll feel the difference. Walking clears the clutter of the mind, eases the weight in your chest, and invites you back to yourself. I remember an old story. An old Zen master would walk around the monastery each morning. One day, a student asked, "Master, where do you go every day?" The master smiled and replied, "I go nowhere. I just walk to meet myself." And that's what I learned. We often search for peace in faraway places. But really, it's always beneath our feet in each breath, in each mindful step we take on this earth. Try walking, not to get somewhere, but to come home. Mindful steps, walking back to the heart. I once met an elderly woman during a retreat at a temple. There was nothing particularly striking about her appearance. She was thin. Her legs trembled slightly with each step, but when she spoke, I felt as though I was entering another realm. She said, "I walk every day, not to get anywhere. Walking is where I find peace. As my body moves, so does my mind." Her legs had weakened over time, but that didn't stop her. It was those slow, deliberate steps that gave her strength not only physically, but emotionally. Her words embodied a Buddhist truth. The body and mind are deeply connected, and every mindful step is a step toward inner harmony. Since then, I've stopped worrying about how fast I walk. I don't count the steps or measure the distance. I walk with intention to be fully present. Even a short walk, when taken with awareness, becomes a journey home, back to myself. In that quiet rhythm, we don't just grow stronger in our legs, we grow stronger in our hearts. So how are you walking? What does each step symbolize for you? Eat like you love yourself. I still remember the day I decided to change the way I eat. Not because I had to, but because I realized I deserved better. For years, I ate out of convenience. Fast food, chips, soda, anything cheap and easy. These gave me fleeting satisfaction. But deep down, I knew they were draining the life from me. Then one day, I made a pot of vegetable soup. Nothing fancy, just carrots, cabbage, some scallions, and a desire to care for myself. And something shifted. The warmth of the soup, the vibrant colors of the vegetables, the act of chopping and stirring, all of it reminded me I was returning to myself. In Buddhist philosophy, food isn't just nourishment. It's a way to honor the body, the sacred temple that holds our consciousness. Eating with mindfulness is not just about filling a belly. It's about nurturing the soul. It's about being aware of what we put in, appreciating every bite, and showing love by choosing what's truly good for us. I've learned that when you eat with love and presence, your body feels it. You're nourished not only physically, but emotionally. So next time you sit down to eat, ask yourself, am I eating like I love myself? Experience is no longer about quick fixes. It's about building a deep, meaningful connection. These days, I no longer seek out instant diet hacks or eat this get healthy formulas. Instead, I strive to build a relationship with food, one that nourishes not just my body, but also my spirit. I remember vividly a moment from a meditation retreat when I met an elderly monk. His face radiated peace and his body, though aged, exuded vitality. When asked about the secret to his health, he smiled gently and said, "Food is my medicine. When I eat, I honor the life that sustains me. I eat with balance and gratitude." His words moved me deeply. It wasn't just dietary advice, it was a reflection of quiet wisdom. We often forget that at its most basic form, food is an act of love, mindfulness, and intention. The more we care about what we eat, the more we honor ourselves in our journey. Food is no longer just fuel, it's a sacred gesture towards self-love. If you feel disconnected from your body or your eating habits, start small. Add a handful of spinach to your meal. Choose water over sugary drinks. Each small step is a quiet act of kindness, a way to reconnect with your body and nourish it with care. Pause and ask yourself, what does my food say about how I treat myself? Do you eat with intention or out of habit? Do you ever thank your body for showing up every day? Tip number 3, laugh often because joy is powerful medicine. Laughter may seem simple, but it holds a subtle healing force. It softens the heart, lightens the soul, and reminds us what it feels like to be fully alive. When was the last time you laughed so hard you cried? I remember such a moment with my longtime friend Betty. No matter how life changed around us, we always found joy in the simplest things: a silly joke, a knowing glance, or just a quiet moment filled with unspoken laughter. We don't need a grand reason to laugh. Sometimes we just need to let go, sit still, and find ease in the present moment. Eat with gratitude, lie with intention, and laugh as if it's the song of your soul. Laughter and its power in life. One evening, we sat together watching an old comedy film, one of those absurdly funny ones. The scenes unfolding before us were so ridiculous that we couldn't stop laughing. The laughter wasn't just light giggles. It was full-bodied laughter that shook us, making us gasp for air. In that moment, everything else faded away: the worries, the stress, the concerns about aging. None of it mattered. It was just the two of us, old friends, laughing together and feeling pure joy. It was truly wonderful and pure. In Buddhism, laughter is not merely an expression of joy. It is also a release from the burdens and worries of the mind. The Buddha is often said to have laughed, teaching his followers to embrace life's absurdities with a light heart. Laughter helps break down the walls we build around ourselves. It reminds us that life is not always serious, and that we can live fully in the present moment, free from the weight of the past or anxieties about the future. However, strangely, as we grow older, we often forget how to laugh. We get caught up in the challenges of aging, worries about health, relationships, and growing old. But laughter doesn't have to be something grand or complicated. It can be found in small moments, sharing a funny story with friends, watching a comedy show, or even laughing at ourselves. Laughter is an accessible tool, free of cost, yet it has the power to heal so much. I remember an elderly woman I met at a retreat who shared how laughter had been her remedy for many years. When I was young, I worried too much, she said. But as I grew older, I realized that laughter is the best way to clear the mind and lighten the heart. Her words resonated deeply with me. It was a powerful reminder that it is never too late to find joy, to share laughter, and to lighten our hearts. Therefore, I encourage you, don't wait for a special occasion to laugh. Find joy in the small moments, and let your laughter fill the space around you. Remember, laughter is a gift not just for yourself, but for everyone around you. Laughter and routine, two lanterns of the inner life. When you laugh, you not only open your heart to the world, but also unconsciously invite joy into your life. A smile can be as gentle as a morning sun, soft, yet enough to dissolve the mist of weariness inside the soul. Can you remember the last time you truly laughed? Not a polite laugh, but a pure, unrestrained one, the kind that bursts from deep within, uncaring of appearances. Perhaps it was while reminiscing with an old friend, laughing until tears streamed down your face, or watching a child trip, unhurt, then giggle at their own clumsiness. These moments are like refreshing winds of soul, reminding us that life is meant to be felt, not merely endured. An old friend once said, "A day without laughter is a day wasted." Simple, but deeply true. Amid the rush of life, ask yourself, have I smiled today? If not, perhaps let go of some unnecessary seriousness and make room for life's little joys. When you create space for laughter, you open the door to a richer inner world. It's not only medicine for yourself, but also a gift to others, because joy spreads faster than light. Then comes aging, like an uninvited guest, stealing away the rhythm of life. After retirement, I once felt adrift, like a rudderless boat drifting wherever the wind blew. No more Monday meetings, no urgent deadlines, just long, uncertain days. It was in that emptiness that I recalled the Buddha's teaching. Mindfulness and discipline are the wings of freedom. Routine isn't a prison. It's an anchor. Like a sundial, it doesn't control the light, but reflects its rhythm. I started small. A cup of coffee at 8 a.m. became my anchor. I sat quietly, savoring each sip, feeling the warmth of my hands, letting my thoughts float freely. At 10 a.m., I walked around the park, not for exercise, but to give my mind space, like an artist stepping back to see the whole canvas. By noon, I allowed myself hours to read. Sometimes fiction, sometimes Buddhist texts, or just old essays. I let myself disappear into pages and fully arrive in the moment. At first, it felt odd, like I was forcing structure onto a life that was meant to be free. But I came to understand, freedom isn't living without limits. It's living with intention. I once met an elderly man at the public library, 15 years older than me, yet incredibly sharp. He told me he had written a diary at 4 p.m. every day for over 20 years. Not to leave a legacy, he said, but to look back at myself. That tiny habit, it seemed, had preserved his mental youth. If your life today feels too fast or too empty, pause. Find a moment to smile. Choose one small action to repeat daily. Make tea, water a plant, write a few lines, or simply take a deep breath while opening your door to morning light. Because the more you laugh, the more you live, and the more consistent your habits, the deeper your soul becomes. Habits, the rhythm of the soul. Habits are not just about ticking boxes on a to-do list. They are how we create harmony between the body and the mind, between the external pace of life and our internal rhythm. I started with small steps. Something as simple as making a cup of coffee at 8 a.m. Not because the coffee itself was special, but because I looked forward to that first sip, that moment, the aroma in the air, the warmth of my hands, the quiet heartbeat, reminded me, I am alive. Then I would go for a walk. Not for calories or steps, but for fresh air, for the trees, for the sound of birds. The same familiar path felt new when I walked it mindfully. At noon, I read. I allowed myself hours to escape into the pages of a good book, a silent friend in the noise of the world. In the beginning, it felt strange, as if I was trying to force structure into a life that was meant to be free. But in time, I realized, through these small acts, I was rediscovering my sense of purpose. The rhythm of the day gave me something to look forward to, even in the simplest things. One day, I started feeding the squirrels in the backyard, a tiny, seemingly insignificant act. But watching them, I felt a quiet connection. They weren't rushing. They were fully present. And so was I. In Buddhist philosophy, every moment is an opportunity for mindfulness. The Buddha taught, do not chase after the past. Do not seek the future. Look deeply into the present. Living intentionally doesn't mean rigid schedules. It means learning to pause, to feel, knowing that even a simple act done mindfully becomes a silent prayer of peace. I once asked an elderly monk at a retreat, how do you keep your mind calm through everything you've experienced? He smiled, his eyes calm like still water. Every day, I do the same simple things. Wake, meditate, eat, rest. No hurry, no resistance. I let the routine guide me back to stillness. And in the repetition, I find peace. His words planted something in me. I understood that slowing down is not laziness. It is an act of love. Small habits, when done with presence and intention, become steady steps on the inner journey. And what about you? What small acts can become your source of peace? A cup of tea by the window each morning. A journal entry before bed. A walk without earbuds, just a breeze and your beating heart. Or perhaps a smile to a stranger on the street. They don't need to be complicated or grand, just sincere. Because often, the smallest moments hold the power to transform your day, your mind, and your life. Talk to someone. The Buddhist art of connection. Modern life is full of noise and distractions. We get caught up in work, goals, and countless responsibilities. Yet amid all of this, have you ever stopped to ask yourself, what brings you true peace? What makes you feel truly alive? The answer may not lie in success or wealth, but in something surprisingly simple, human connection. In Buddhism, one of the fundamental foundations of happiness is connection with others, known as the Sangha. The Buddha once taught, the Sangha is the whole of the spiritual path. This means a journey toward awakening cannot be walked alone. We are not born to live in isolation, but to belong, to feel others' presence in our lives. I once believed strength meant carrying everything by myself. I hid my pain and my weakness. I feared that opening up would burden others. But the cost of that strength was a silent and deep loneliness. A turning point came on an ordinary afternoon when my daughter unexpectedly called. We talked for over an hour. Not about anything profound, just our day, a few funny stories, and shared laughter. That simple conversation healed me more than any therapy session ever had. I realized that as long as we connect, our soul can begin to heal. Think back to the last time you truly spoke with someone, not a quick text, but a real conversation, where you were heard and also listened. It could be an old friend, a family member, or even a neighbor you haven't talked to in a while. Take Mr. Lai, for example, a man who lived alone after his wife passed away. For years, he was withdrawn and silent. Then a local Buddhist charity group began visiting him weekly. They didn't preach. They simply sat with him, shared tea, and asked how his day went. After 3 months, he began to open up. Eventually, he even joined them in helping others. We can't always heal ourselves alone, but we can help heal each other simply by being present. Don't hesitate to call someone today. Don't be afraid to reach out to an old friend. Every connection you nurture, no matter how small, is a seed of peace. As the Buddha taught, a true friend is a whole of the spiritual life. Connection, the human thread that holds us together. Even a stranger can sometimes help us carry the weight of life, if only for a brief moment. I recall a story my dear friend once told me, a simple story that carries deep resonance. She was nearing 80, having spent much of her life caring for her children, husband, and aging parents. For years, her own needs came last, hidden behind a quiet strength. But one day, she realized the cost. Slowly and silently, her body and spirit had worn down. She wasn't facing a sudden crisis, just a slow erosion of always being the caretaker. To save herself, she reached out to a local group of women, many of whom had experienced similar burdens and losses. There, she found not advice, but empathy. As stories were shared, eyes met, and silent understanding grew, she felt something shift within. The simple act of sharing lifted her heart. It reminded her she wasn't alone. She belonged to something greater. I once saw a similar moment in a cafe. A young woman crying softly, and an older woman, a stranger, gently sat beside her. She simply said, "You're not alone, dear. I'm here if you need someone." No advice, no judgment, just presence. And sometimes that's enough. Buddhism teaches us that all beings are interdependent. We are not isolated islands. When we open our hearts, we invite healing, both for ourselves and others. A conversation, a smile, a text. These can be the bridge back to life. If you're feeling lonely or burdened, don't hold it alone. Reach out, call an old friend, smile at a neighbor, join a group, let someone in. These little things remind us that we are not alone. Life tip, try something new. It's easy to fall into comfort and routine, especially as we grow older. After retirement, I felt like I was just going through the motions, safe but stagnant. Then one day, I signed up for a pottery class. It was messy. My hands fumbled, and my first bowl came out crooked. But instead of feeling embarrassed, I laughed. And in that moment, I felt alive. Working with clay taught me to embrace imperfection. I think of the film The 100-Foot Journey, where a young Indian chef learns that failure in cooking can be the first step to culinary greatness. By trying something new, even small, we reawaken wonder. So if you feel stuck today, do something differently. Go somewhere new. Learn something unexpected. Not to master it, but to feel alive. One question for you. Who can you connect with today? Think of someone you haven't spoken to in a while. An old friend, a co-worker, a family member. Send them a message, make a call, write a letter. It could be the gift both of you didn't know you needed. Because in the end, connection is what makes us truly alive. The magic of new beginnings. Live as if it were your first time. The joy of trying something new, even when I didn't do it perfectly, brought a deep shift within me. The little bowl I clumsily shaped during my first pottery class now sits on my shelf, lopsided yet meaningful. It reminds me that growth doesn't come from perfection, but from embracing the process, allowing ourselves to stumble, to explore, and to discover with the wonder of a child. In Buddhist teachings, we are encouraged to approach life with openness and curiosity. The Buddha spoke of the importance of beginner's mind, a spirit of not clinging, not fearing, and experiencing things as if for the very first time. This doesn't have to mean big changes. It can be as simple as trying a new recipe, learning to play an instrument, or walking a different path home. It's not about what we do, but how we meet life, with innocence, without judgment, without fixed expectations. I'm reminded of a dear friend, Ms. Hoa, now in her 70s, who decided to pursue painting after retiring. At first, she was hesitant, worried her hands weren't steady, her mind not as sharp. But after a few months, she was fully immersed in colors and brushes, her eyes sparkling like a child discovering the world anew. Her paintings weren't masterpieces, but they radiated something priceless, joy. She told me, "Painting gave me a new perspective, a world without judgment, where every attempt is welcomed. I no longer fear mistakes. I only fear not trying." Her story is a gentle reminder that life, at any age, is an adventure waiting to unfold. If we allow fear or self-doubt to hold us back, we deny ourselves the vibrant, untapped parts within us. As the Buddha taught, seek not perfection, but the truth within each moment. That truth isn't found in outcomes, but in every brave step we take into the unknown. Think for a moment. Have you ever wanted to learn to dance, play music, write a book, or simply cook something new and challenging? What stopped you? Was it fear of not being good enough? Or thinking it's too late? But who says joy depends on success? Real joy comes from allowing yourself to try, even imperfectly. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, you tap into your boundless potential. You don't need to be good right away. You just need to be present in the journey. As Zen teacher Shunryu Suzuki once wrote, "In the beginner's mind there are many possibilities. In the expert's, few. When you let go of needing to succeed, you open the door to creativity, aliveness, and the hidden gifts life offers." So today, what new thing could you try? Pick just one, however small. Doodle. Learn a few foreign words. Sing. Don't let life be a loop of repetition. Let it be a series of firsts. Sleep. A gentle return to inner stillness. Take the first step. You might be surprised where it leads you. Tip number 7. Sleep like a champion, because sleep is not just a bodily function. It is a sacred act of healing. There was a time when sleep felt like a luxury I couldn't afford. I'd lie in bed at night, eyes wide open, my mind racing. Worries about the future, regrets from the past, even trivial things like what to cook tomorrow swirled endlessly. If you've ever experienced this, you are not alone. But over time, I learned something important. Sleep isn't merely rest. It is a ritual, a doorway into balance. One night, After weeks of restless tossing, I tried something different. No more TV until I dozed off. No more scrolling to my phone in the dark. Instead, I created a small ritual. I turned off all screens, dimmed the lights, picked up an old book I loved from my youth. I sipped a warm cup of chamomile tea in silence. My body slowed, my mind softened. There were no distractions, just me and the night. That night, I truly slept for the first time in what felt like years. And in the morning, I didn't just feel rested. I felt renewed, as if something inside had been quietly reset. Buddhism teaches the middle way. Not too much, not too little. When we rest properly, our bodies heal, our minds settle, and our spirit finds space to breathe. The Buddha reminded us that mindfulness does not end when the sun sets. In fact, the moments before sleep can be the most powerful, an opportunity to reflect, to release, and enter rest with a heart that is open and clear. I remember a monk I met in Thailand once told me, "Sleep with the reverence you bring to meditation. Let your final thoughts before sleep be kind ones." That changed everything. Since then, I've ended each night with a silent thank you. To my body, to my breath, to those I love whether near or far. I began to see sleep not as an escape, but a return to stillness, to myself. A friend once shared with me that she keeps a small gratitude journal by her bed. Each night, she writes down 3 things she's thankful for. At first, they were simple. I had a good dinner. I hugged my daughter tightly. I heard a song that made me smile. But gradually, she noticed it helped her sleep more peacefully and wake with a lighter, more grateful heart. So tonight, how will you enter sleep? Try something different. Create your own ritual. Because sleep is not just the end of a day. It is the beginning of healing. When I began to prioritize sleep, everything else in life seemed to fall into place. My patience increased, my energy returned, and my mind became clear, like a still lake after the wind has passed. There's something sacred about sleep. It's not just physical rest, but a journey back to oneself. So if you're struggling with sleep, I invite you to turn your evenings into a quiet ritual. Light a candle, journal your thoughts, play soft music, whatever soothes your soul. Let it be a time when you disconnect from the world and reconnect with yourself. Ask, what keeps me restless at night? And how can I create peace before I rest? You don't need expensive solutions, just a few intentional choices. Say to yourself, I matter enough to rest. Yes, you deserve it. Rest isn't just a physical need, it's a spiritual practice. We sleep not only to recover, but to wake up lighter, clearer, and more whole with each new dawn. Celebrate yourself. In the daily hustle, we often forget to pause and reflect on how far we've come. We focus on what's next, what still needs to be done, who needs our help, and forget to celebrate the road we've already walked. The truth is, you deserve to be celebrated, not for massive achievements, but simply for enduring, for showing up, for not giving up. I remember a particularly tough week. Everything felt overwhelming. One evening, for no special occasion, I bought myself a slice of my favorite cake, just because I made it through the week. In that moment, I realized it wasn't about the cake. It was about honoring my resilience. I was celebrating my strength, not because I had succeeded, but because I had survived. In Buddhism, the concept of mudita, sympathetic joy, encourages us not only to rejoice in others' happiness, but also in our own growth, efforts, and healing. I once met a woman at a meditation retreat. She had spent her whole life caring for others, her children, her spouse, her community, but had never stopped to ask, what about me? At that retreat, she began journaling in the mornings, sipping tea mindfully in the afternoons, and meditating in silence beneath a tree. She didn't seek external validation. She simply began to honor herself, something she hadn't done in decades. And you deserve the same. Celebrate yourself, even if it's just waking up on time, remaining calm in a tough conversation, choosing rest over exhaustion. All of it is worth a smile. a moment of gratitude, a whisper to yourself. I've made one step further. There was once a grandmother who spent her life caring for others. She never needed applause or grand gestures. For her, a simple thank you, even from herself, was enough to soothe the soul and renew her strength. She didn't live for recognition, but she learned to recognize herself. That shift in perspective brought her quiet but profound peace. We often think we need to achieve something monumental to celebrate ourselves. But the truth is, if you are still here, breathing, loving, being patient, that in itself is a triumph. Imagine a single mother who wakes up at 5 a.m. every day, prepares breakfast for her child, works 8 hours, then comes home to clean and help with homework. No one may say thank you, but could she look in the mirror, smile, and say, I did well? That moment, a quiet acknowledgement, is a sacred act of self-honoring. Honoring yourself is not arrogance. It is gratitude. It's a message to yourself. I've made it this far. I'm still growing and I'm still here. We don't have to wait for a special occasion or someone else's praise to allow ourselves joy. Today, celebrate who you are, a person full of kindness, resilience, and wisdom forged through life's trials. It could be a meal you cook for yourself, a peaceful walk in nature, or simply sitting in stillness to thank yourself. These are ways to reconnect with the deeper self, one that is gentle, strong, and full of love. In Buddhism, every moment is an opportunity to practice. Don't wait. Don't delay loving yourself. As Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh once said, the present moment is all we have. Aging is not slowing down. It is ripening. It's the time to live deeper, feel more clearly, and understand more fully. Walk with awareness. Nourish your body with love. Laugh often. Connect sincerely. And build habits that feed your soul. Wherever you are on your path, remember, every small step brings you closer to peace and joy. You deserve to live a meaningful life, not because you are perfect, but because you are real, you've tried, and you're still becoming. So today, what will you celebrate about yourself? Are you waiting for any small change that you will make today to honor yourself and embrace this new chapter of your life? I truly want to hear your thoughts. Please share below any practices, peaceful moments, or things that have brought you tranquility and joy on your mindful journey. Leave a comment, because every story, every experience is a light that guides someone else's path. And if you found this video valuable, don't forget to hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and join us on Ancient Echoes TV. Together, we will explore how the teachings of Buddhism can guide us toward a peaceful and fulfilled life, no matter who we are or where we are in life. Thank you for being here. I truly appreciate every moment you spend with us. I look forward to seeing you in the next video on Ancient Echoes TV.